The following podcast may contain strong language. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome to Hallmark of Greatness Last Orders, the podcast where we look back into the films our Hallmark favourites, actors and directors would rather forget they were ever involved with. I'm Joe, and with me as always, his only friend is an imaginary drunk cowboy. It's James.
Oh, I wish Patrick Warburton would just follow me around doing bits.
That's the truth. And a man who will do a fun dance to win your pants. It's Planty.
I'm one day hoping that a small white child will become my boss. Some might say the boss baby.
Oh, fuck off. If you want to keep up to date with upcoming film choices and that, follow us on Twitter at Hallmark of Great, all one word, or you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Hallmark of Greatness. Or if you live in a pineapple under the sea and want to recommend a film to us, you can email hallmarkofgreatness@gmail.com. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Not too shabby.
It's a dark, dark month. Let's just get it over with.
But it's nearly over, and then we get all the joys of February, which
I'm
is
all the brighter for this mad film coming into my life.
I think we should do more of these.
Yeah.
I don't disagree.
There's a big long list of stuff we can follow this up with.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it then. This week's film. 2017's
Global Meltdown.
Oh, yeah.
James, it's time. Let me find the button.
Appeared behind me that time. Weird. This is the Twizzling Yarn Almanac of Dread, as it's decided to call itself. I fed into it, Global Meltdown, and it came back this. Global Meltdown 2017. Peyton Global is a local sidekick who finds herself having to work out why she is all alone in a park with some ketamine, or else death!
Okay.
Exclamation mark in the original there. The plot thickens when Peyton meets Jeremiah Meltdown, a bridge builder who likes his ladies like he likes his swimwear, cheap and from Matalan. Events take a turn when she is cursed by a sea monster and the couple are forced to become all chummy. Will they settle on that default Windows XP wallpaper? Yes, definitely.
When you say he's a bridge builder, does he have a military XP7 bridge launcher? Or is he doing it the old-fashioned way by hand?
The more surprising thing for me was being cursed by a sea monster. Do they do that? I don't know. But yeah.
I know that the Loch Ness Monster, the first mention of it is apparently some missionary sailed out into the loch and the monster rose up and he waved his crucifix at it and it disappeared. So
is that why we've never seen it?
It's one of those things. I'd like to believe it was real, but it's not, is it? It's an elephant, or it's that submarine that the surgeon photo. We're getting off topic. But,
is that the submarine that Danish millionaire murdered a woman on? Is it that?
I want to watch that documentary. I remember that.
Actual synopsis for
Global Meltdown.
A helicopter pilot and an environmental scientist lead an exodus of survivors in search of a safe haven after a catastrophic tectonic event causes the crust of the Earth to break apart.
Is that what happens?
I remember a helicopter pilot being in it because he mentions it. And
yeah, he did.
She's an environmental scientist, but also a doctor?
Yeah, but not that kind of doctor.
But then subsequently that kind of doctor.
Yeah.
As and when it suits, yeah.
She is Doctor.
She's Dr. Karen, which sounds like the worst doctor to have on your team, isn't it? Can I speak to your disease, please? Fucking hell. Right. Is this, just before we start, because I didn't look at the thing, is this actually a proper asylum film? Or is it just a made for sci-fi?
It's Cinetel.
You say that like...
For some reason, I've written like genital films, but I think it might have been autocorrect.
I was going to say, is this our first disaster film? But then I remembered that all the films we've watched have been disasters. Now, it's kind of similar, I think, to Chupacabra versus the Alamo. It's that kind of disaster film.
No, this is more like a deep impacty end of the world.
This is the
2012,
sort of day before the day after tomorrow, whatever it is. Sort of along those lines, isn't it?
Yeah. let's get into this, because boy, is it a doozy of a film. It has everything. And after just coming off watching this week's episode of The Last of Us, I can see the parallels.
I recommend that the listeners go away and watch this, probably on triple speed. It's on YouTube.
Oh yeah, it's on YouTube. I watched it on 1.5 speed because yeah, you don't need to
on
fully
triple speed.
comprehend.
Is it just explosion after explosion on that?
It's like a Neil Breen film. Yeah,
It did feel like that at
The
times. Yeah.
Alvin and the Chipmunks all get got.
the squeakquel. Yeah, I mean, we open on is it the Field of Dead Sheep?
In Pleasant Creek.
Pleasant Creek, population 217.
Yeah, 217 of the most basic bitches to name a town, Pleasant Creek.
217, and for some reason we made all our houses out of explosives.
We got Dr. Karen Kavanagh coming in from Eastern State, which isn't a university, I don't think.
There are states to the east.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that.
Anyway, she comes from there. She's a researcher, which means in pandemic that she can swap out the city cards. That's it.
It does, yeah. Good niche joke about pandemic. I need to get the legacy version of that and play it, because apparently that's when the fun
It's a lot more fun. Yeah, it's a lot more fun.
It just feels disrespectful ripping up cards, and you know what I mean? Yeah. But she arrives at the farm of Farmer
Barnes and his kid Ashley.
Oh, Ashley, the precocious child actor.
Just a groan after that. I put down he's a non-union Keanu, or possibly Chris Pratt. And subsequently, I'm like, why didn't they just use him as the male lead?
I thought that, but does he not turn evil? Is he not one of?
He's one of the ones.
Yeah, because they're all like that, aren't they?
Is he the one with the beard, isn't he?
Yeah, but
I've got non-union Jason Lee for him.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh, Jason Lee, if he got really into heroin, yeah.
More than he was into skateboarding and Scientology.
Yeah, that's a shocker. They arrive on and all of these sheep have mysteriously died on his farm. So this scientist lady, Karen, shows up, Karen Kavanagh.
And God dideth take the first lamb. What? Eh?
What? Don't worry about it. They haven't. Yeah, because there was points in this film when I was like, are we going religious?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And then they never really go all in on it. They sort of skirt around it. But
I think they just wanted a Dove.org review.
Oh, well. She gets she gets a case out, and it's full of things. And Ashley's like, can I help? Because she's a small, annoying child. And of course, she wants to help. Her dad says, no, leave her alone. And Karen's like, no. And she's doing, what's this? Fuck off. But she goes, that's a thing for testing the soil. And that's a thing for testing this. And this is a camera for taking pictures. And then laughs at her own joke.
Bit weird. She turns around to find Ashley nearly dead of holding too many vials. The nearest hospital is
what is the correct amount of vials to hold at ground level?
They go to I put Dr. Roman. Was that his name? Sounds a bit unlikely.
Doctor not appearing in this film.
Yeah. I think they mention him a bit later on.
He's the first one to go.
I don't remember him dying, but he says that she's got CO2 poisoning, which is hypercapnia, apparently.
Is it now?
I feel like I need to check all these terms again, because they've got a very shaky grasp of science, haven't they?
He's died of too much electric. Yeah.
Have we missed that? Do you have a computer I could use?
Of
course I do.
She comes back round.
Not 1983.
Well, Ashley comes back round and he's like, where am I? And I'm like, does that happen with carbon dioxide poisoning? I don't know. We'll never know. Can I use your computer? I have to check the web.
WebMD.
That's what they do, yeah.
She's like, I have an idea, or I've got a memory or something, and she just types in, what was it, like Columbia Lake or something?
Lake in Cameroon.
That was it.
It's got a big thing about Cameroon.
And is this when something
There's news on the telly?
The news is like, a load of CGI water is attacking everyone.
San Francisco gets covered by computer-animated jizz. I've written.
What you're seeing is video from our San Francisco affiliate. Is it really? Is that really what that is?
No, that's establishing shots of San Francisco from other films, and then they've just jizzed on it.
It is like PlayStation 1 graphics. It is.
It makes because I find like Do you remember? Was it Babylon 5? All the spaceships in that were done on an Atari.
It's a big pile of shit. Yeah.
But it looks better than that, and that's 25 years old.
Was Babylon 5 and Sequest, I think, were done on. It was called something Toaster.
Yeah.
Does that ring a bell?
Yeah,
it was like
yeah,
an Amiga thing. Yeah.
It was an Amiga, not an
Magic
Atari.
Toaster
sorry.
or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
But it looks better than this.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking there must be stock footage available of like floods that you could have just cut in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
it didn't need to be like a recognizable town. You just show some flooding and you're like, this is happening everywhere.
People running away. Yeah.
But they say that the West Antarctic ice sheet has collapsed. So that's one of the first of the many things that's going on in this film. So that's happening. Sea levels are rising.
I did like the fact that apparently that is how a tsunami would hit. It would just be like a big wall of water that comes in, apparently. It's one of the things that the Tia Leone one got wrong. Is that Deep Impact?
Oh, Deep Impact. Yeah.
That's because it wouldn't come in as a big wave. It would just be a massive wall of water coming at you.
Oh, right, yeah.
Apparently. I mean, I doubt they did that on purpose. I think it was just when they were in MS Paint with the spray can. adding it in, like, and then the screen goes dead with a filter, a fade out filter, and they're like, no, it can't be. And then they hear a helicopter overhead.
Yeah.
So they rush out, and there's the shonkiest CGI helicopter that's slightly on fire.
It's the shonkiest CGI helicopter we see in this half of the film. Because there's another one coming later. It's got a little bit of fire on it. Which again, spray paint can on MS Paint.
Not Eyewitness News 3, that helicopter.
It lands, and what's he called? Is it
Davis?
Davis
something.
And
Davis
Erin.
Yeah, and he says something like, I've got 2 surnames. I was like, I can't remember if that makes him a wanker or not.
I know, yeah, it does a lot of that.
I think it's all right.
Union Andrew Scott or the hot priest from Fleabag.
All right, okay.
If you've
I put non-union Phoebe's brother from Friends, Giovanni Ribecki.
Yeah, I got non-union Donnie Wahlberg, but I'll change my mind later on.
He does, like, it was this filmed over a number of years because his face seems to change as the film goes on. Like,
it's because he's not had his kids vaccinated.
But yeah, they get off this thing. The helicopter explodes, and everyone's like, okay.
Well, they have a big giggle about it.
They're just like,
try and stay in character for a second, just for like the main bit.
This is the bit where she said, "Have you ever heard of Cameroon?" And he's like, "Cameroon."
The mayor has never heard of Cameroon.
Oh, Mayor Wally.
She's like the lake in Cameroon, but he's just never heard of Cameroon.
I'm fairly sure it wasn't in Cameroon. The one I heard was in India. It was a lake that dispersed all this carbon dioxide and everyone died.
India, Cameroon.
It's interchangeable, isn't it? And then is this where we get the flashback to them getting in the helicopter?
Yeah, weird flashback. They never do a flashback sequence again in this film, and that is a good decision because this one was awful.
Erin says, "Is it safe to fly in this?" And Davis says, "Listen, I didn't take off a Black Hawk in Fallujah under fire because I'm an army guy, right? Let's crowbar that in. And I'm drunk.
I think I could do this with a hangover, yeah."
Oh, he's a hangover. He's not drunk. He's just hungover. And she goes, "Hungover?" They get to the top of the building, and the CGI water attacks them. And they just fly away as the water just about to hit them. And I'm fairly sure helicopters can't do that, but
now,
whatever.
My experience of this was absolutely enhanced by the subtitles that I put on YouTube, which it was supposed to be "get to the chopper now," and it interpreted it as "get to the chocolate now." Loved it. I think at this point I started with the graphics. I was just thinking, it's not Mr. Film, is it? Mr. Film being I think it was like Santa with Muscles or something, this film, or the Fantastic Four.
I think it was Fantastic Four was Mr. Film.
They just went out and hired Mr. Film, whoever he was. And I think they went for him in the Yellow Pages, but they just got Mr. Flim. And it's just, it is wank. It is so sad. It's worse than Chupacabra versus the Alamo.
At least that had practical special effects in some of it. This has, it's all CG.
Oh, no, there's a bit with steam, which I think is real steam pipes at one point towards the end.
That's just a guy with a carbon dioxide fire extinguisher just out of shot. Just popping that in people's faces. So yeah, they are from, was it Hot Action News 3 or whatever?
Something like that.
And I don't know why are they there? To cover it? Because she videos some stuff and then just abandons that and just becomes a survivor.
Yeah, I thought Erin had the most believable storyline in that she just sort of gives up. And
Yeah, that's what I'd have done. I'd have been like, I'll wait for the earth to come and swallow me.
And they show the footage that they've got to Dr. Karen and the others, and there is a massive amount of people in this room. I think I put it down as like a leisure centre kitchenette or something like that. It's weird.
Well, first of all, they have to go and speak to Cade. Don't they?
Anyone but this guy.
Well, they do this, and he's like, the Yellowstone Park's going to bust, and we need to get a ham radio. Go on, Mark. I know you're dying to.
No, I wasn't going to do it. That was a joke just for us. I am talking on my ham radio.
I have a ham radio. So they've said that if Yellowstone blows, there's like a big magma pool under it. And like they'll all die. So they need to evacuate to the higher ground because it's granite there and lava can't penetrate granite, apparently.
Poor Yogi and Boo Boo.
Now they go to visit this guy with a ham radio, and he's got signs up outside that say that he's an armed owner and that violators will be eaten. So he's done this before. Foreshadowing much.
Foreshadowing that, yes.
You can't wait to eat people.
He loves it.
He was on that plane from Alive.
He started before the food ran out. He says he likes it.
Thanks to the plane, we are still alive.
Now, for a survivalist, he's just living in like a trailer, isn't he? But he steps out of that, part camo, part fishing gear, all asshole.
So,
yeah.
I've got non-union Josh Brolin wearing two types of camouflage, so he's always at least
partially visible. My legs say urban, but my top says forest. And he's your standard American doomsday prepper / survivalist / conspiracy theorist, although he says that he isn't a conspiracy theorist.
Well, they warn her against calling him a survivalist or something, and I'm like, that's fine. I'm sure they would call themselves that. They haven't got a special term for it, have they? But he keeps going on about it being
he says, go see your insurance company.
Yeah, that didn't...
What does that even mean? Like, why would she go and see the insurance company? What?
To put a claim in when he kicks her face in. He says it's Teotihuacan, which I genuinely thought was like a Native American word.
I looked it up. I couldn't see anything.
So it was only at the end when I went, oh, yeah, that's dumb. And he goes, it's the end of days. And now, because you failed to prepare, you expect me to give my stuff up, which is fair enough. Like, all the beans he can eat. She says, no, I just want to borrow some time on your ham radio. And he goes, oh, okay, then fair enough.
She brings him round by mentioning volcanic activity, and he's like hostile until that point. And that's the thing. Like, he lost his left testicle to a freak volcanic accident in the past, didn't he?
Yeah, a bit of pumice. He washed it too hard and it just eroded.
Shriveled up by a tiny bit of lava.
Oh, can you imagine? So this ham radio doesn't really do anything.
No, they take it to the kitchenette they've discovered, which is armed with several maps, headsets, and an A4 poster that says "How the World Works" on an A4, one side of A4, and they used up a lot of that was
a lot of graphics on there.
Font. I should say
it's that simple. It's that simple.
Just says money.
Stupid.
So basically, they then say, Mayor, this is bad stuff's going to happen unless we get out of here. And then
it's a film of two halves, because in this half of the film, everyone just calls him Mayor like it's his first name, like he's Mayor of Easttown or whatever. But then later on, it's kind of like, Willie, and it's like
Wally. He's called Mayor Wally.
It kept coming up on my thing as Willie.
I mean, that's even funnier, isn't it?
YouTube subtitles.
Mayor Willie.
Mayor Willie. Okay. But they're like Mayor, and he's like, yes, I'm the mayor. Yes, I'm the mayor. And he goes from being this posh with it guy to this doddering old fool who ends up getting his eyes burnt out. Anyway,
I know what a development.
He's the mayor of a town of 217 people, though, isn't he?
And one of those people is him.
Him.
There's also non-union Pierce Brosnan who doesn't get properly introduced, and he has a go at Whirlybird Davis.
Oh, Whirlybird, yeah, I love that.
Mr. Whirlybird, and he goes, "You're good with the nicknames, aren't you?" And I went, "Not really."
Not a great comeback.
Because later on, when we meet the survivalist, he goes, "And you, Mr. Survivalist," and I was like, "It's not good," and he's putting "Mr." in front of things, aren't you? It's not clever, is it?
He has a go at him because he was at Desert Storm in '91. And Davis has already said several times at this point that he was at Fallujah.
Yeah.
So
but he was only a pilot.
Between them,
and
they know a lot about fucking up world geopolitics, don't they?
Yeah, but he's only a pilot, and he is a combat veteran, which is a different thing. Air Force, I don't know. But then as they're arguing about this and waiting to do a kiss, because some guy comes in and says, "Mayor, you need to come and look at this." And he goes, "Oh, all right then." And they all go outside, and someone has CGI'd some cracks on the road.
Yeah.
Oh, and they're so close to it that it would burn your eyebrows off. But like they're standing right on it, and it's just nothing.
Nope. So these cracks, these fissures have opened in the ground, and there's literally molten magma underneath. And they go, "Best call a town meeting then." Yep. And I'm like, why is everything in America like fucking Stars Hollow in the Gilmore Girls? Like, you don't have a town meeting. You're the mayor. Get the police involved and say like, everybody has to leave now.
Yeah. In the world's narrowest room.
Yes. Yeah. But like, so the mayor goes, "We need to leave," and Bad Cade says, "Is this the government or is this you?" And everyone goes, "Rah." And as I said to you, all it needs is that fucking hell from Father Ted in the background.
My favourite bit of this, you all saw the giant crack outside the school.
But there's arguing here, and Cade turns bad, and then within like a moment, like within like 30 seconds, he's a goodie again.
Yeah,
and I was kind of like, "Fucking hell, this is something." But somebody says, "Why don't we head to Boise?" It was like, "Boise's a hole in the ground." Marlene, I'm a national disaster. Yeah.
America.
It'd be good though. It'd be good if not Roger Lloyd Pack, was it? That was Trigger. But yeah, if he just showed up and was like, "Nah, it's all fucked, mate." And so yeah, they agree to leave town eventually after much debate.
Oh, and after Dr. Karen says something about be the hero of your own story, and a little smile at Davis. It's like, what?
And it's arguing over, should we go on the I-70 or should we go on the I-35 or should we go on the I-72? Oh, I sunk your battleship. Fuck off. Like, it's almost like if you've never been to the Midwest, it's all just booba doobie booba dooba dooba booba dooba dooba dooba. It's like an Adam Sandler film. It was disgusting.
What happened to Mark?
I don't know. He really hates motorways, I think.
This is the film.
We finally broke him, boys and girls. So they like start packing up the town and everyone sort of starts leaving, but then an earthquake happens and everyone explodes.
It goes Bowser's Castle in the town square, doesn't it?
They managed to get like 2 barrels of petrol, I'm assuming.
I love the payoff in that later on, by the way.
That's great, yeah, because in all that time, at no point have they emptied any of the petrol out. So they managed to hitch that up, and there's like a RV and a couple of trucks, and they managed to leave while everything else in town explodes because all the buildings are made of dynamite.
Exactly, and someone's going, "Go faster!" He says, "I can't. Something's draining the battery." And Homer's in the back basing a couple of chickens.
So about 5-6 cars get out, something like that. And as they drive away, you see this shitty CGI explosion in the background.
She says, "We need to go back. We can go back and do whatever." One of them says something like, "Karen, there's only CGI fire to go back to," or something.
I think that's Davis, because at this point Davis is like, "No," and I'm surprised he didn't shake her and give her a slap, because it feels like you're being hysterical.
Yeah. Well, she does at several points in this want to just rescue people from completely irretrievable situations. Like this town has sunk into like lava while being hit by a tornado, and there's a hurricane.
Only we hadn't had those 4 ratifying votes on whether we should leave town or not. Like, because the first election's always going to be accused of being rigged, isn't it? Yeah. Yep. Lock her up. Yeah. So they just start driving.
Yeah, towards some murder woods.
Towards the murder woods, they park up, and Davis has somehow got a dirt bike from somewhere.
Scrambler.
Yeah, he's got a scrambler because
because he's a 13-year-old kid.
It's a disaster. I like American listeners. Are like dirt bikes prevalent everywhere? Because you're never far from one in these films, are you? It's like Mad Max. There's, when the motorbike lads show up, fucking shit's going down. And he's going, I have to go. I have to go now. My sister needs me.
I have to go now to the interzone.
Yeah, it's a triple divide. I didn't know what a triple divide was, but a triple divide or triple watershed is a point on the Earth's surface where 3 drainage basins meet. Don't know why he's going there, though.
I don't know, but it makes for a good scene, so that's okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a town. He drives off on his dirt bike, and Cade's like, "Ooh, one less man now." But then Cade sort of flip flops, doesn't he?
Yeah, then he's nice. Nice.
He looks at the map and he says, "Where's your bad area, Doctor?" And I thought, "Don't like that."
I've had some cream. It's fine. And she goes here, and he goes, "Oh, so we can't take the whatever all these I roads." And I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah. At this point, I noticed for the first time that the Ennio Morricone "Rolling in His Grave" knockoff soundtrack.
There's weird cowboy music.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
Because it was the cheapest one they could get.
This has a music composer on the production list. There's a composer.
Was it Ennio Morricone?
It was Willie H. Cowboy songs. And so he goes, no, there's an old abandoned mining road that runs here that only we know about because I wanted to buy some land there.
Yeah.
Weird detail that didn't go anywhere
but
anyway.
The Hollywood elite came along and bought it, and volcanoes make it expensive. And I was like, what is this a rallying cry against Hollywood?
It's almost as though they've just opened up a GCSE geography book where it's about glaciers and volcanoes and everything. And they've just spliced together complete gibberish based on the term.
But so they I think did they not make camp?
Yes.
Overnight.
Yeah,
which I have a problem with this, because if you're fleeing something and trying to get something, there's enough people that you could drive 24 hours, just swap driver. Truck drivers do it.
Yeah, but equally, everywhere's safe until the plot.
They're there overnight, and then it immediately follows them. It follows, yeah. The volcano wants to have sex with them.
At this point, I got my third advert of the same advert for the benefits of having a smart meter installed, which I had no idea why that's a targeted ad for me, but it was...
It's like you're watching this film, you're wasting energy.
Yeah. It was some guy as a really bad Einstein who'd got a couple of neighbours round, and he was offering them biscuits. And out of the biscuit jar, he took the lid off this red phone box biscuit jar, and every time he did, it played God Save the Queen or something, and he was so proud to be doing his bit for England. It didn't make any sense.
What the fuck are you on about?
This is a real advert that I must have seen 6 or 7 times, but it sent me down a rabbit hole of looking at conspiracy theories about smart meters, which I assume you don't want to hear about.
I do, but I don't understand how a biscuit tin has got anything to do with a smart meter.
Neither do I.
Especially some patriotic biscuit tin.
EMF wireless radiation, right? They're the ones that burnt, I think, £1 million on video. Or that was a KLF, I think.
Yes.
Folk are uploading posts on a smartphone, but refuse to get a smart meter because of the radiation.
Right, okay.
I mean, fucking what? And that is all it is. The radiation sent from my iPhone. Is it? Yeah.
I put in my pocket near my testicles. Yeah,
my now shriveled lava spit on testicles.
My pumice stones. Yeah. I can't have a smart gas meter put in because where my gas meter is, it's in a stupid location. So they phone us up every 6 months going, "Would you like a smart meter?" And I go, "We can't have one." "Oh, we can come and install one for you." "You can't." The guy came out and went, "I ain't doing that." And then he said he put a note on the thing. But here we are again, 6 months later.
That's not very smart, is it?
It's horrible when I have to do the meter readings, though, because that's where all the spiders live. So,
no.
I only figured out you could lift the front of the box up as well. So I used to have to put my phone in and take pictures of it upside down. Because, idiots. Anyway, so they make camp. They're sharing out rations.
Yeah, they start sharing out rations. I couldn't make out what the food was, but they were cradling it in the palm of the hand like it was 3 jelly beans.
Yeah, it was soup. And Cade says, "Why does the kid get so much?" To which Karen responds, "She's 12. So
It's especially after 12,
yeah,
all goes downhill and you get fewer jelly beans, you get one less per
well,
year.
isn't that why they have kids' meals in restaurants?
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, he should have used that, shouldn't he?
That's what I'd have done, Cage. You missed a trick there, son. They set off the next day up this secret mountain track.
This
and
well-metalled road that's apparently a mining access thing that just looks like a road.
An abandoned mining road. But before that, we cut to Davis on his hog, razzing it through the streets. Kicking dustbins over, swearing.
There's no actual
flicking the
visible
V's at the
property damage.
church.
There's just like smoke coming from behind a building.
They filmed it at like 5 o'clock on someone's street, didn't they? It's like, okay, there's going to be a man with a motorbike. Please don't phone the police. He goes into this house, and there's some bad slags upstairs, ransacking it. And he goes, "Get out! It's my sister's house." And the guy goes, "There is no one's houses anymore.
Yeah.
Everything's."
His line is he goes in and he's rifling through a box of like rings and tings and things, and he goes, "This is my house." And he goes, "No, it isn't. It belongs to my sister." And he goes, "Nothing belongs to no one anymore, man."
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, that was a quick about turn.
I was kind of annoyed he wasn't dressed like a back alley punk in an 80s thing, because and as he's arguing with him, another guy comes in and knocks him to the ground. Davis, always the fighter, kicks him in the balls and runs off.
And runs down these stairs, right? How many stairs were there in this house? He's running for about 5 minutes of the film. Is it a lighthouse?
It felt very much like
running.
In Holy Grail, where he's running across that field. It felt like that. He runs downstairs and he slides on his knees into a mirror, into a mirrored closet, pulls out a shotgun, loads the shells in. One rolls away, and we focus on that for a weirdly long reason. And then the two bad slags politely knock on the door, and then they just open it, and he pulls the shotgun on him and says, like, "Get out
of my house." Thought you said it was your sister's.
Yeah, that's what I haven't done. Yeah. Thank God, you can't even keep your story straight. The other guy, who doesn't have a speaking role, grabs the shotgun and they do a gentle tussle, and then a gunfire is heard. I don't think we see it. I can't remember.
No.
And the other guy's dead, and the other guy, the speaking guy, runs off, and he's like, "Oh, never gets easier."
And then picks up the one shell that had fallen to the floor. Yeah, cool.
Puts this shotgun in his... He buries two people. I'm assuming one of them's the dude he's just murdered, but whatever.
Because his sister is dead of rebar to the hand, I put.
No.
Oh, I didn't remember seeing that.
No,
I
didn't
see that his hand stuck up, and then anyway, doesn't matter.
But he buries them and then puts the shotgun in a bag and drives off. Doesn't take food from the house.
No.
Doesn't ransack the other houses for food. Another problem with this film is they drive past so many things and don't loot them.
Yeah.
He probably went up to the nearest vending machine and then was very patiently putting in all his coins and stuff. There's also meteorites at this point.
Is there?
There's the Earth crust. There's a tsunami. There's meteorites. There's explosions. It's too much. Too much going on.
Everything, everywhere, all at once in this film.
Indeed.
Yeah, but he's like, "Oh well, my sister's dead. I'm going to go and join back up with Karen then, because I think we had something there." So he razzes off, and we get this mining road as they're driving up it.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, Mr. Flim does himself proud here. An earthquake strikes, and this RV goes off the side of this
cartoon RV.
And then just fucking explodes.
Again, everything in this film is made of petrol.
And Dr. Karen just like goes up to the bar and is just like looks over the side, and then that guy's like, "No one can survive that." I
was genuinely hoping someone's going to go, "Phew, that was close." And they just go, "Oh well, they're dead. Who was in there? Don't know. Don't matter, does it?" So they keep driving.
With the speaking part.
No, they keep driving, and again they make camp for the night for some
they put on
reason.
the radio, and the radio's all right wing, and it's like, "Where's your government now, eh?" Sort of thing.
There's the conspiracy thing. Why is this the only person on the internet? On the radio, sorry.
I could have believed that this was filmed post-pandemic. It gets that bang on, doesn't it?
And they're like, and in the Cade's truck, he's like, "Finally, someone speaking the truth." So he's clearly into this now. In the space of 2 days, he's come to believe it all. they make camp, and Cade and his crew of 2 other guys have got like a load of booze with them, and they're getting leathered.
That's how you know they're baddies.
On Kalashnikov vodka.
Nice.
As a fun little tribute. And like Karen comes along and goes, "All right, this is for everyone." And Cade quite justifiably says, "Nah, is it fuck, pal?" Like, I don't mind sharing the food, but booze is my booze, mate.
Yeah.
Like,
he says, "No one ever ruled over me, and no one ever will." Yeah.
Don't tread on me.
And Davis turns up at this point.
Well, he points his gun at Karen, and he's like, "This is the difference between you and me," or something.
Yeah.
And then Davis appears behind, points a shotgun at the back of his head, and Karen, go on.
I got this all wrong then. It must have been because it was dark. But he says, "Let's see if you got the guts to pull the trigger at me, non-union Bill Paxton." And then, but the gun I thought was propped on his shoulder, and was the only way that it would have harmed him was maybe giving him a little barrel burn or something.
You have a bad ear as well. Might perforate his eardrum.
Yeah,
don't do that.
It was on his shoulder.
It possibly was for like legal reasons.
But Dr. Karen talks him out of it, and then Cade's like, "Oh, because you didn't kill me, I now know everything about you as a person."
Oh, he also says, "I'm not afraid to die." And Davis says, "A man that has booby traps around his house is afraid of dying." And I'm like, is it? I don't
Maybe he's
know.
afraid of getting sexually assaulted by raiders. I don't know.
Raider. Yeah. And so like they walk off, and then that's that. Like that's sort of
yeah.
She goes, "Oh, thanks, Davis, for coming back, Steve Davis." And he goes, "It's all right. Do you want to do some kissing?" And she's like, "Nah, I'm all right. Thanks, pal."
Now let's go to the Hotel Motel.
Oh, Holiday Inn.
It's called Hotel.
Yeah. It looks like the hotel from the first level of Left 4 Dead.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's just one of those like any sort of American roadside motel like thing.
A Chinook passes by overhead.
Do you hear that? No, because it's a cartoon. You don't hear it. Like it's literally, which what until it's up on them, they don't hear this massive army helicopter.
They do go, "No, stop," sort of thing.
Yeah, but they are looking in different locations.
Yeah.
Like they didn't even have a blue balloon on a bit of string going overhead to focus on. And it doesn't. It flies off, and they're all like, "Oh, curses." So they travel on. Is this where they get to the petrol station?
They search Hotel Motel, and Ashley does an unconvincing scream, and David says that unconvincing scream sounds like Ashley. But it turns out it's non-union Dan Levy from Schitt's Creek with a lot of ham radios, and he's the one who's been on the radio all that time.
Deep State Stephen Hawking, I've written.
Because for some reason he's still got power.
Yeah, and for some reason I thought he was in a wheelchair. Turns out he's not.
No, he's in a gaming chair because he's a nerd.
Oh, okay.
Nerd.
Then
he shows them some mock-ups of apparently of Wall Street underwater, and she rightly says that can't be possible. You've just mocked that together. But he reckons that everything is man-made, and that if the elites have done it. But then I just put, if the elites had done it, they'd just flood poor places, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it's like the Purge.
Wall Street.
Yeah. Like Burnley.
Is this when there's another earthquake?
No, Cade shoots a wild boar because it's the closest thing to human meat you can find. They have a hog roast.
They do.
Now, this sad pig on this spit made me want to eat gazpacho. It's tomato soup served ice cold. Go back to Russia. Where was this woman that's not very well come from? Is it because she'd been eating the hog roast?
No, I think she was in that car that went down into the canyon.
But nobody could have survived that, James.
No. There is an explosion. There's like a thingy. Because like 3 people die. Because there's white sheets on them outside because Erin's walking about with the first aid kit that she's found, hugging it like it's and then she goes.
Is that what that was? I thought that was like some special care or something.
Yeah, she brings it in and she was like, "Well, this is fucking useless. Get out."
She's walking around and Davis goes, "Why don't you go and give that to Karen, sweetheart," or something? And I was like, Davis, I thought you were better than that, but I guess not. Yeah, she goes in and there's this woman on a bed who is 2 stages away from becoming a walker. Like,
yeah.
The question. Oh, is there anything we can get her? I'm going to get her some broth.
Yeah,
she doesn't want broth. She needs a young priest and an old priest.
Because she goes like, she's got sepsis, like she's got a fever, she doesn't know where she is. Maybe broth will help. It's like, What? It's not
Is
like
this a-
Jewish penicillin, is it? Like it's.
They're in dire straits as well because they've only got 12 cans and half a dozen water jugs. Is what
He says
the
a handful.
says.
He says a handful of water. Stop using your hands. Get a cup. But Erin
nothing they
looks
can
down
do.
at this girl and she's like, "It's not fair. There is no God," or something like that, and then just decides to straight up murder her with a pillow. But then Cade appears, around the door frame, like fucking Friends, and he's like, "Come on, do it," and she can't. Runs off, and then we get a gunshot because everyone else is outside because there's only like 6 people left at this point.
It's still too many.
Yeah. They go in and Cade's like shot this girl in the head, and he's like, "I'm the only one that had the balls to do it," and also we're gonna eat her now. I was like,
that
fucking hell,
quickly.
Yeah.
Sepsis. You've got sepsis. Don't eat her.
If you cook it, surely that's fine. I wouldn't want to try it, to be honest, but Davis beats fuck out of him and boots him in the head, like proper kicks him in the skull, which is not a good thing to do when there's no doctors around, but whatever. And then
There's
at no
one
point,
doctor around, Dr. Karen.
she's not a real doctor. She's an environmental scientist.
She never will be with that.
And broth enthusiast. She's a doctor of broth. And so, but they don't tie Cade up. They just like kick him in the head and expect no repercussions from this man who has already proven himself to be untrustworthy several times.
Yeah.
I thought he was quite patient with them, considering that he'd just been kicked in the noggin. Anyway,
I'm surprised he didn't just fuck off, like steal a truck and just fuck off, wouldn't you?
yeah, well, they train a gun on him, his own gun. He's not going to like that, and make him not dig his own grave, dig her grave.
Yeah.
And he's only going to be like, well, I'm just going to dig her back.
But
and eat
at
her.
this point, it's him and I think Farmer Barnes, Ashley's dad.
It's not Ashley's dad.
It
can't
looks
be.
very similar. He's in a red and black plaid shirt and he's got a beard and looks
The
like
beard.
yeah.
That's what everyone looks like.
They take the guns off them and leave. He's like, well, what are we supposed to do without any weapons? You've got 2 massive fucking shovels. Surely that counts as something. Yeah, and then the other guy, he's like, damn it, Cade, what do we do now? Dig up, stupid. There's no reason to dig a hole.
The conspiracy David, he says that he's a survivalist and he knows some cuts to
No, he doesn't say that.
That's not what he says.
No.
Not what he says at all. You're missing the whole point of it. He says, "I'm a survivalist. I don't take shortcuts. I make shortcuts."
them.
And zips his top up, and I'm like, "Hey, you're about 8 stone wet through, lad."
I hope you've taken your inhaler with you, son.
So they're going to follow them because even like not Farmer Barnes says they're in a car. But Kay's like, they won't get far. I'm like, okay, whatever.
The explosions will catch up with them
I
soon.
think the cans of petrol have exploded at this point as well.
Yeah.
They just tip over and explode for no reason.
Yeah, some fight. I think that comes. That comes sometime later.
Okay, we've not had an explosion for a while, is all.
No, we haven't.
But we're into the last half hour.
You've got to keep my interest.
I don't. At this point, they're going into the mountains.
Well, they
are
go
in the
away
mountains?
from Yellowstone.
Yeah, I think, but the mountains are made of granite, which, as we've already discovered, is immune to lava.
Okay.
Science.
Rachel didn't watch the first half an hour with me, and then I think it got to just about this point, and she went, "Where are they going?" I went, "I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
Just away."
Sure. Yeah, I think I did say up there.
So
they're in the snowy Rockies now, anyway, and they decide. Fucking up. They decide to take the I-15.
Oh, of course they do.
Which I noted down diligently. They ride this into some mist where there's lots of abandoned cars.
No, we've missed.
We missed a bit. We missed a big.
You've missed the petrol station.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, because this is where they're obviously filling up the barrels again, aren't they? Do they not start filling the barrels up here or filling something up here?
I think it's
can't remember.
around the same
Oh
time.
no, actually, I've mixed that up with the fact that I'm watching the 3rd episode of The Last of Us.
Yeah, Last of Us, because he fills barrels up in that.
So,
I think
so
the barrels.
Nick Offerman does.
I think the barrels explode at the motel, and that's what does that last thing, because the barrels were full of sepsis juice, and it just explodes onto her, and she just gets sepsis. And
all right.
Right.
Okay.
That's what they've taken it with them in case he needed to give someone sepsis in an emergency. I don't know.
This is the bit where the people that own the garage and the place come back, and it's like, run! They've got bows and arrows, and I was a non-union Donnie Wahlberg like you till I took an arrow to the knee.
Well, he does. He says, "Are they friendly?" And then as they get closer, he goes, "They look hostile." And I was like, "Are they doing this? Are they flipping them off as they come towards?"
They look hostile because they're in hoodies.
Is that what it is. But yeah, someone's been living in this station. They've rigged the petrol pump to think, I think I can get round it. And they go, we'll just fill the truck because we'll all pile into that now. So we're losing vehicles rapidly. The truck pulls round. They fire. It's a compound bow as well. Cowards. Not even shooting recurves, girls.
What are you?
Easier. It's easier on the upper body.
Are you part of the Silver Horde or something?
No, but yeah, they shoot
fucking Everdeen here.
They shoot Davis in the leg, and he's like, "Oh!" Gets in the truck, and they drive off. And the lads in the truck just go, "Yeah, why I gotta
shake harder, boy."
Yeah, they don't try and shoot the tires out or anything.
No. And she says, "We've got to get that shaft out of there."
Yes. Yeah.
The one, and he goes, "What? So I can bleed to death, or it goes septic?"
Yeah. Who's the tactical bow wielding bloke in a hoodie that shoots all the survivors? Shaft.
Nice.
Damn right.
And so they just go, "All right, we'll just leave it then." They don't fish it out.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's
they
a
just
good
wrap a
point.
bandage around it, and that'll sort it out.
He just deals with it.
Just don't knock it.
The Three Stooges find a landslide at this point in the road.
Yeah,
this is the shortcut.
Yeah, and what stops them going any further is a really low resolution JPEG of a landslide.
Yeah,
this wasn't here before.
Really badly.
He says we'll have to double back, and Cade's like, "I'm gonna fucking murder you." Like, he's got no patience. You'd have just thrown him off there, wouldn't you? He's bringing nothing to the group. Well, as they walk off, he says, "You best get some skills soon," or something. And I'm like, okay. They catch up to the petrol station after the good people have long gone, and the bow wielding maniacs like point at them, and he goes, "We just want some information. If you give us information, I'll give you lunch." And conspiracy boy goes, "Huh?" And then Cage just shoots him in the head and goes, "Lunch is served."
Yeah. And then advances on the corpse with a knife.
Yeah, and then stabs him up like, you know, like when your horse falls off in Red Dead Redemption and you have to skin it.
Now, the one thing with this is those guys, those bad lads, haven't said a word.
No,
like they're just extras.
Because three people just walked towards them. One of them just like murdered one of the others.
Yeah, but they
and then
still
started stabbing the corpse.
I'm not paying them to be honest. Get them. You know, there's not even a quick shoot them in the tits or something.
I'm not paying them a talking wage. You can stand there, lads, but I'm not paying you for talking.
Scale.
Yeah. And yeah, so I'm assuming they then eat him, and like he just loves eating people. Like,
yeah, so the whole trade-off with this is that they're going to show them where the convoy full of useless people went.
Now,
with his ham radio.
For a man who claims
it's
to be a
always about the ham
survivalist,
radio.
He wants his radio back. He's talking to someone in Penge. Yeah, but right, he gets to this thing. He's supposed to be a survivalist, right? He's supposed to be like a thingy. He gets to this petrol station that only goes. There's a road that goes left or right. Where have I just come from? Left. Yeah. They're probably going right then. I just follow this road. I didn't need to like kill this thing. I could have used him as a bartering chip later on, unless he was just peckish. Yeah. just wanted a snack and wanted to look cool in front of the Arrow Boyz.
Can't rule that out.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in Stephen King's The Mist.
Fucking hell. So then, can you see? Yeah, it's thick, but I can still see. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And then they're all going, "Oh, it stinks like farts in here."
Yeah. It's sulfur. So that means it's either the devil or dragons. Which one?
Yeah.
It's one of the two.
Who's been letting off stink bombs? Ashley. Ashley's like, "Oh."
She's so weird.
Because we missed the good bit as well when they're in the hotel motel, when the explosion happens, and she just puts her in the bath with a pillow on her head.
Throws a mattress on the thing. It's like it's like the beginning of when the wind blows. It's as cheery as that.
Which have very realistic graphics now, you come to think about it.
And like, it's sulfur, and if it mixes with water, it'll make sulfuric acid.
Yeah. Davis goes out and then he comes back with bleeding eyes, which was the one good thing that they did. It was a bit shocking.
Ketchup in my eyes.
And go on, because you've got a thing about this, haven't you?
No, he goes out and says like all the plastic's melting. I was like, why's the engine made of plastic?
Yeah, and the heater.
And then he touches the heater and the heater melts. I was like, okay. So they all go, "Oh, let's get out of the car and run around in a circle for 3 minutes," which they do. They find a cave which is somehow immune from sulfur.
Yeah, come with me into the depths of the earth where there couldn't possibly be any dragons or devils.
Or
all those
chupacabras.
lads out of The Descent.
The mayor also
All them
runs out
things
to
from
grab
Bone
a bag.
Tomahawk. Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
The mayor,
The
runs out to
mayor
grab a
goes
bag.
back.
He hurts his
Oh.
own eyes doing that.
Yeah.
And then YouTube subtitles made Karen say, "That was a very stupid and brief thing that you did."
I might said that as well. Yeah, yeah. And all I've got is they wrap his eyes with a bit of
Right. This was a thing here because he says, she goes, wash his eyes out with water, and he goes, no, don't. It's an acid. It'll only make it worse. Right? Now, I don't know much, so I had to contact a friend of mine who is a proper science person. He's accredited, has got certificates and jazz. And I said, is that true? Because I was told at school, if you spill like acid or stuff in your eyes, you rinse it out under the tap immediately for like 20 minutes to make sure it's all out. And she was like, yes and no. Like, if you only put limited bits of water in there, which they've only got a handful of water left, because they're not even recycling their piss at this point. Like, they could have all pissed in his eye, I guess.
No, that's jellyfish stings.
So you can't even cry.
Jellyfish haven't got eyes. Yeah, you could cry, I guess.
Because everyone pisses in them.
Worse.
But so you put it on
if it's acid, then you put alkaline on it. That's what I was thinking. Throw crimson on it.
Oh, I forgot to pack my crimson. Yeah,
I've got an alkaline trio
CD. If they had an unlimited amount of water, then yes, you would rinse it. But if they only had limited amounts of water, it could make it worse. Her husband then put, "All go into a wind tunnel," which doesn't help at all because I forgot to pack the wind tunnel. That is to go into a wind tunnel because it'll waft it out of your eyes. I don't know. Right. I didn't understand.
Sure, you could. Yeah, all right. Yeah, you could use anything.
But so they just leave it, which would burn more into his eyes.
Which explains why he goes, "Oh, Duncan, man, I cannot see.
Spooky, me eyes." Jeff.
Your beard's on fire.
And so they just bandage his eyes. Like, is it Tenshi from Mortal Kombat? Like the blind assassin dude?
Oh, my eye, I'm not supposed to get sulfur in it.
They decide to spend the night in this cave until the sulfur gets bored and leaves them alone.
It goes on to the others, yeah.
And at this point, Davis is like, "Oh, what with being shot and the eyes, I've had enough. I'm tired."
Yeah, she goes. Hang on a second. And she's just waving in front of him. Says, "Can you see that? If by see do you mean blobs?" And she's like, "Yeah." Well, no, I can't see that either. And it's all it's a very anti-Donald Pleasance in The Great Escape. I can see. Take me with you. I can't see. Leave me in this fucking cave. And they do.
Yeah, and so they leave him there, and
she does a big long wait at the cave entrance,
turns around and just leaves him.
And I thought she was leaving everybody because, like, there's nobody with her. And
I'm not that clear on who's left now.
Yeah. That's his last line is, "It's funny, all those Black Hawk missions, and they get taken out by a little mist." Yeah. And then he dies. And I'm like, he's got to get that fucking Black Hawk in at the end. Like, let it go, Davis. Nobody cares. Yes, I wish I'd met you before the end of the world.
Yeah,
that's nice. You wouldn't have had a chance, mate.
This bit, they're all walking across. This is the Fellowship of the Ring. Like they're walking through all sorts of.
It's very. I used to watch the school in snow, sleet, hail. It's one of those. And it's like all the weather happens. And then they come across a stream, a mountain.
It's a mountain stream, Wally. A beautiful mountain river. All right, rubbing it in because you can't see it.
It's amazing. You should. Oh,
yeah. I've written her down as non-union Lena Dunham here.
Yeah.
It's lucky that somebody had the presence of mind to bring a rod along because somebody's out there fishing.
I thought they'd got that because there's a tent as well. Did they not just find all that from some bloke who had been fishing? Is it?
Don't worry about
I assume it was okay.
Don't worry about it. They're not. But yeah, I think left now is Dr. Karen, Ashley, Erin, and Mayor Wally are the only four of the original.
Other guy though, isn't there? I'm sure there's another guy who hasn't been blinded yet, but I don't know what his name is because they never introduce anyone.
Oh yeah, there is another guy.
Oh, he's the guy who catches the fish, isn't he?
Yeah. And I'm like, where did he come from?
Mr. Fishman, we'll call him.
Where did he go?
Nobody knows. Does he not get? Anyway,
they have a big campfire and they laugh about Cade eating people.
Yeah, they're just like, he's probably eating them, and I'm like,
and he says, Wally says, "Oh, this is the greatest meal I've ever had." I'm like, it's one tiny little fish. You've had like a tiny sliver of fish.
He's called Larry Vogel.
How do you know that?
Oh,
Because it's in the quotes.
Yeah, so she says something like short in the near future. She says something Larry Vogel, and it came up on the subtitles. I was like,
who's Larry Vogel?
Has she just said that, or is that like has the subtitle just figured itself
Larry
out?
Vogel's line here is clear water, stars in the sky. If this is the new world order, count me in. At this point, Cade and his gang have come across a woman in a car who shot herself, but is clearly breathing in a lot of the shots.
Yeah, and they find the gun, and then he says, "Check the glove box." And he goes in the glove box. There's this massive armory of bullets in the glove box.
God bless America.
Indeed.
Yeah, so they're laughing at Cade eating people. Cade's laughing at this woman who shot herself. It's a funny time for everyone. But the next day is when it all comes to a head, and this film's nearly over, thankfully. They wake up and Ashley has been kidnapped.
She screams, and he would have murdered us all if she'd not screamed. What else was she going to do?
All she does in this film is scream and get hidden under mattresses.
Yeah.
It's better than woman who pisses herself in threads, I guess. And so Kate's like, I have to deal with this on my own because you're blind, you're nobody, Larry, and you're the other woman, so one of us must survive, I guess.
And they find a bottle of his Kalashnikov vodka. And
that's how they know.
And he doesn't even take it. She doesn't even take it back, and he's pissed off. He's like, "You didn't even bring my vodka back." He doesn't strike me as the kind of man that would drink anything Russian. Why would he drink vodka, considering that he's one of these kind of end of the world kind of preppers? It is rye whiskey and nothing else.
How can he function? How is he not just like on the floor at this point?
What's the nutritional value of human meat, do you reckon? It's like similar to pork, isn't it, I reckon?
Oh, you think it's like that rabbit thing where if you only eat rabbits and you'll die.
Yeah.
Rickets. He's got
but
rickets.
If you combine human meat with bathtub vodka, then that might create like a superfood.
I'm going to try it.
I wouldn't. There was a time I drank Tesco Value whiskey and went blind the next morning, like temporarily blind for about half an hour.
Did you also add 54 slices of American cheese?
Good day. Yeah. And so they have this standoff, but there's like 3 other guys. So he's picked someone else up along the way. Maybe one of the Arrow Boys decided to join him because he's like,
yeah, maybe
he's got guns and we're just fanning about with this.
They've got Ashley, and Kate's like, oh, she's cute enough to eat. Genuinely creepy. Yeah.
Isn't a phrase either, is it?
And I'm like, dude, salmon's available now.
There's a fish.
Let it go.
But would that water not be tainted if there's all?
Well,
anyway, let's not get into that.
Where did she get the tactical shotgun from, by the way?
That's Davis's. That's Davis's one.
Right, okay.
He shot that guy with.
Yeah.
And he goes, I just want my ham radio back.
All this for radio.
Everything. It was all about the ham radio.
All about the ham radio.
Which is it in that bag? I don't know.
It was massive.
It'll be melted in that car. It's probably back at the petrol station. The Arrow Boys are laughing. They're like, we got a radio now. We can listen to Ken Bruce. Well, we can.
You can, but you have to listen to adverts as well now.
And he's like, put that. He doesn't say pea shoot, scattergun down, and she's like, don't hurt her. Take me instead. And he's like, well, why don't I do both? And then Mother Earth, Mother Gaia comes to the rescue.
Yeah, with steam.
Steam comes out and it parps one of the bad lads, and he goes, and falls over. And then it parps another one, and he falls over.
And then Jason Lee makes a run for it because he's a coward, and that's the end of him.
He points a gun at her and then sees everything going off and just gets bored, walks off.
Drops the gun on the floor and runs off. And I was like, at least take the gun, Jason Lee.
Yeah.
He throws it, and then she runs and scrambles at it. Cade sort of slowly ambles over to her, like me going back up to a buffet. And then she just shoots him. And I'm like, that's a bit anticlimactic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She goes back with Ashley, and the campsite's no longer there, so they follow it along. And there's this big military base there.
Yeah. Oh, the cartoon helicopter comes back.
The cartoon helicopter comes back and rescues them.
Yeah.
Or, leads them, shows them the way slowly.
But like in 2 separate lots, like it's been back already and got them, but we never heard that. It's like, oh yeah, we sent them after you. We thought
in this
you were
valley,
dead.
yeah, in this valley where it would echo like fuck. But we don't see them get on the helicopter. We don't see them get off. We see them walk round the corner, and a helicopter noise plays to the right side because we ain't. And they're like, "What is this place?" They're changing Mayor Wally's eyes. Larry Vogel's fucked off. I don't know where he's gone. Like he's not in the tent. And Erin says, "Oh, they've got a base that's like 40
Got a
meters
big
underground.
bunker. Yeah.
They got a funky bunker. Craig Charles is there.
This is the new world order.
Yeah.
is what
Get
they
in the
say.
vault.
But
Yeah,
it's fine.
Well, I've been watching Limmy. Limmy's playing Fallout 4 on Twitch during the day. So, but it was that opening bit of that. He's just running around going, "You all right, pal?" and stuff like. And there's two guys going, "Is it a drill?" And he's going, "Yeah, it's a drill." And then as soon as he gets past that gate, "It's not a drill. You're gonna die." But yeah, and then like Aaron goes, "What? So sacrifice our freedom and liberty for protection?" And I'm like, "Or die and get eaten outside by bears, wolves?" And as this is happening, a
Big
shit
mushroom
volcano.
cloud.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because it looks
It's
like
the
someone's shining a
resembles
big
one.
torch through a hedge.
Yeah, and it's the volcano going up and all the stuff. And she goes, "It's going to be a long winter."
That's the final line of the
like,
film.
Nuclear winter, dickhead.
Yeah,
Obviously, and the point is that the sun's going to be blocked out for however long because and people aren't going to be able to get flights over Iceland.
Ah,
Yeah.
Remember that?
Remember that?
I was working in town then. All the lovely Swedish air hostesses were staying in the hotel above my work, so I used to see them every day. And we went drinking one night, and it was great.
It's amazing.
It was fun because the pilots get paid loads and have no self-control. Yeah, that's the end of the film. I quite enjoyed this because it was shite. It's like they had a vision to make an end of the world type film, but didn't really have fleshed out characters or the budget.
It was a bit mad, wasn't it? Yeah.
There was still plenty to laugh at, and that's the key thing on this podcast.
Oh, definitely. I'd go for about mid-range. 3 silver ham radios is what I'm going to give it.
I've gone with 2 bronze bullets to the face of the survivalist.
I think I'm with James. I'm gonna go 3 silver. How the world works A4 posters.
That's surely the best film of the year so far.
I mean, we're only at the end of January.
Yeah, but I'm saying
it might be the best film
of
of the year. The way this
those
is
are really high scores, lads.
I wasn't bored at any point because it moved along at a fair old lick. They got to a new location, something happened, that location caught fire, they move on to the next one. Like, there was a pattern. The ending made no sense, and I'm like, is this good? Is this bad? Are we supposed to like the government now?
What happened to Larry? Who is Larry?
Larry just got bored. Larry was like, I want to live in the fish world. He swam, picked up in the river. Him and Aquaman are running about now. But yes.
Yes, that was
Global Meltdown
2017. A Destrucción de Terra in Brazil. Apocalypse Day or Global Fusion in France.
Ooh.
And Germany, Global Sturm die Final Katastrophe. Apologies.
That was good.
It's a mouthful. 2017 brought us The Last Jedi, the rebooted Beauty and the Beast thing.
Ugh.
The Fate of the Furious? Is that a Fast and Furious one?
That's the 8th one.
All right, they've given up with... Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? And the new Jumanji thing was actually pretty good.
The new one's pretty good. I'm annoyed that they haven't gone with my idea, which would be Fast 10, your seatbelts for the last one.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's my 3-0 Walcott, that one.
No budgetary information. This was a straight to TV movie, so I didn't get anything down. I thought I'd just remind people this was produced by 7 people, including Sebastian Batro and Tom Berry from Our Dream Wedding last time. That's how we got to this.
That's the link.
Little script writing duo there. So don't know what else
script.
Yeah, I think a lot
inverted commas.
I quite liked a lot of this script, particularly when YouTube just made it up. But, yeah.
That was foolish and brief.
Which kind of makes sense. Like, that was a stupid thing to do, but you didn't take a lot of time, so it's fine.
Well, if his eyes are bleeding, I want my eyes to bleed as well.
Marin Almazi, who played Ashley, she was nominated for a Canadian Joey Award in 2018 because of this film.
Don't say it, Joe. Don't say it. Don't say it.
So me and Mark, a Joey Award means something else.
Don't say it.
I'm assuming it's not a bad thing.
No, I think it's a good thing.
Right?
Why would it be a bad thing? No,
I don't want to. I don't want to
do-
get into it. But if you want to look up Joey Deacon, Blue Peter, yeah,
Okay.
and then just how
yeah.
cruel children can be.
Yeah.
The shonky visual effects were orchestrated by J.J. Lawson, who is an award winner, everyone. But not for this.
Not. I was going to say what for rifle firing or fucking paper mache.
He's done Hallmark adjacent stuff like The Road Home to Christmas. There was that series of The Wrong Babysitter or The Wrong Husband.
Yeah.
Worked a lot on that. And something called A Royal Christmas Engagement, which isn't Hallmark, but it's sort of similar.
I imagine the special effects in that are not going to be explosions and helicopter based though. So
No,
it's a lot
that's
easier to
all,
win awards.
Sparkles on the screen where they go back into flashback and stuff. Yeah. All that weird sort of like cartoon dot style thing that was at the end of that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He also worked on Sharknado 3 and 4, Terror Birds, and
Terror Birds.
Is that another one with Zelda?
Oh, don't.
Oh, that was Terror Hawks.
That was Terror Hawks.
Okay.
My grandma used to look like Zelda.
Given that he's a visual effects artist, I think the most terrifying one is Street Survivors, the true story of the Leonard Skinner plane crash.
Right? Did they eat each other in that one?
Yeah, it was in the Andes.
Has to be some more of that drummer's ass.
It's just going to be like a paper aeroplane just going to
with Leonard Skinner spelt wrong on the side of it.
Written and directed by David Gilboy, who also has producer
Gilboy!
credits for Komodo vs. Cobra, Hydra, and Mongolian Deathworm.
I've seen Hydra.
Have you seen Mongolian Deathworm?
No, I don't think it's real. I think someone's having you on there.
Are you asking?
So quite a lot of the people in this were actually fairly boring. No, like, zany credits is what I'm going for. Dr. Karen was Leanne Coley-Young. She's in the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and she has a bit part in Altered Carbon, so she's doing all right. And Davis, Patrick McKeegan. I've just put in lots of things, but nothing much. It's kind of like little shorts and things. And
I'm assuming they all do these sort of films.
But at least for those two, not really. There's nothing that zany out there. And then we get to, with his IMDb trademark, deep, raspy voice, hooded blue eyes, muscular physique, classic action hero demeanor, Michael Paré, who was Cade. Famous for his starring role in Eddie and the Cruisers. And some decently rated films. He will do anything for money because, case in point, he's had 22 acting credits in 2022 alone.
Wow!
Mary Poppins!
Yeah.
I mean,
and they're all
man's got to
good-looking.
eat. Humans.
Man's eating well. 22 credits.
We could dine out on those films. Like, you could watch them one after the other, and it would be exactly like this.
Oh.
But I'll just pick out some for you. He has been in a film we've watched before. Not you, Mark. It was before your time on the show. He was the evil man in Raging Angels. Colin, his name was.
Oh!
Colin the evil man.
Colin the evil man. He had a compound.
But yeah, he was in The Wild Man, Skunk Ape. That's all one film.
Oh, right. I was going to say.
2021.
Oh, right, okay.
I thought it was Wild Man
Skunk Ape.
versus Skunk Ape.
It could
With
be.
a monkey.
It's
Skunk
the
Ape,
Wild
one
Man
of the bad
colon,
guys.
Skunk Ape. So
Skunk Ape is one of the bad guys out of He-Man, isn't he?
He is. He's the one that smells.
Yeah.
Oh,
makes
it's
sense.
a monkey they've just given shitloads of weed to.
Another good one, Space Rage, 1985.
It's like road rage, but like, use your indicators, Fireball XL5.
And Instant Justice /
Oh.
Marine Justice, 1986.
Ooh.
Instant marine justice.
I'll
He's
leave
just
you
underwater, leathering dolphins.
And Lunar Cop, 1995 as well.
Oh, if that's a sequel to Roof Cop, I'm on board.
Very much hope so. But yeah,
Lunar Cop. I love these films because they've just put
They're all
two words
brilliant.
together, don't they? They're like
they've all got
action
very
badger.
winsome posters, I have to say. But yeah, there we go. Thus, James Fax is detonated and blown to the moon. I don't know. Whatever. Sulfurized and...
Universally panned film, unjustly, I feel, because there's something there, but it's not great. 1 out of 10. FX made by a 10-year-old on his Commodore 64. School plays contain better acting than this by Marvin Westmus.
Right.
This is utter garbage. The storyline is a rip-off. The FX looks like they were done by a render farm made out of Commodore 64s, and the acting is so bad it made me cringe. Cringe.
Oh, cringe.
The main science plot is the only part which made it semi-interesting. Science what? But the character development made me long for actual bad movies. You know, the ones which are bad but fun because they are bad, but you can relate to people who have to suffer through playing in them. Okay. This one is actually so bad that it's beyond having fun to see people suffer. This feels like fucking something that Pinhead would say. I am not even sure if it's the actors or directors. Some frames were just awful, especially in the beginning with multiple people in the town, and that's clearly a director's fault. But the acting is equally awful most of the times. The other times it's actually worse. There was a bit, I think, when Davis rode into town on that bike. As he rode away, there was like a strange thingy angle, like a low... Is it Dutch angle?
Yeah.
For no reason, just one time.
Yeah, I mean, his comments there did remind me as well of that town meeting in the world's most narrow room, and it's weird choices like that, isn't it? Yeah.
Fucking hell. And literally everything else said similar stuff. There's people who were like, "Oh, it's 10 because it's great," and I'm going to do them. But 3 out of 10. This was the one that made me sort of go, "Oh." Watch If You Have a Strong Stomach by Hannah, 1369-623. This movie is not for everyone. End of the world-ish and scary.
Scary?
Scary.
End of the world-ish.
Ish. End of the world adjacent. Tawakatui adjacent. Yeah, I mean that's it. That's literally all the reviews were like, it's not great. It's a made-for-TV film. It's the same as any of those other ones. I think I did one for someone else where it was like a dam that exploded and had similar water effects in it. But yeah, I mean that was 2017's, what was it?
Global Meltdown.
Global Hypercolor.
Yeah.
Fat Willy Surf Shack. Yeah.
Hot tuna.
Here we go. Gentlemen, your favourite lines from the film? I've got a cracker.
It looks like I pushed my chopper a little too hard.
You bastard! That was mine.
You all saw the giant crack outside the school.
I saw Boise. It's a hole in the ground.
We've got to get that shaft out of there.
Goodbye, everybody. You stole my people.
Get to the chocolate now. I didn't look just so that you could have the glory